Yes, man. There. We back, innit? Y'all see me outside? Right. Welcome to Hybrid, powered by chinkseyMEDIA. Once again, we are back for the post-match presser between Newcastle United and Arsenal. After seeing us overturn what looked like another loss at Newcastle United into 3 points, Mikel Arteta headed to his post-match press conference in a good mood. He was asked about his emotions after an exhilarating game, key decisions in it, cutting the gap at the top, and much more. Here is everything he had to say. On getting the result late on, unbelievable feeling. That's what football is about, and a team. When you get what you deserve right at the end, it's not a better feeling than that. Unbelievable result. Yeah, I mean, this is the type of landmark result which befits champions. You've seen Liverpool get a number of those this season. As me and Raheem spoke about, their get out of jail free card. They've used it a number of times. Well, we used ours today. In a game that I felt we dominated from start to finish. It looked like one of them hard luck stories, you know, having all the ball, having all the chances, bad luck, bad refereeing decisions, and we lose 1-0 in a narrow margin. We had a few of them last season. However, we dug in. We continued to keep grinding in what was a grueling match. I felt we managed to make telling substitutions, tactical changes. You know, Arteta changed things in the second half where I didn't know who was playing where. You know, I gather I was probably playing Rice in the back four, and he had people like Martinelli on one wing, Trossard on the other. He had Marino on. He just threw the kitchen sink at it, and he came up trumps, really. So the main thing is we got the 3 points. We've got those tough 6 games out of the way, over to Liverpool to have their tough run of games, you know. We've got a tough game against Olympiacos. I watched them yesterday get a late winner in the Greek league. The thing about Olympiacos is the fact that you get a sense that they're the Arsenal of the Greek league, wherein they can just score when they want. Like, so basically, they won 3-2, but both occasions when the opponent equalised, they scored within like 5 minutes after that. So it just showed that like they were playing within themselves for most of the game. However, when they come to the Emirates, it's going to be a different game. But yeah, it's good to get the 3 points. Now we're in a situation where if we can go and beat West Ham, who is another bogey team of ours, especially at home, we've lost the last 2 there, we will go above Liverpool. When, you know, some people were saying that the league was over. How quickly things change in football, eh? On his heart rate before the winning goal was given, I'd seen the action very clear and fast, so I thought the referee wasn't going to intervene, but I don't know, because obviously we had the example of what happens in the first half with the penalty. Regardless of that, I'm so proud of the team, the way we played, the way we competed, the way we understood the game, how we reacted to very difficult situations and decisions, and still found a way to win the game with the players coming from the bench. Exceptional. Okay, so Mikel's giving a little dig at the ref. Yeah, I mean, the players were angry. I feel that they were feeling sorry for themselves after the decision was overturned to give the penalty for a foul on Viktor Gyökeres. I felt personally it was a penalty. But, you know, when you have such decisions go against you, you got to kind of get your head together. So I'm happy that it happened before half-time so Arteta can kind of get it out of the players' heads, because you could see it was frustrating people like Saka, Gabriel, and things like that. It was getting under their skin. So at half time, we can kind of get back, regroup, you know, and we had the 45 minutes to kind of know what their assignment was, which is to get 2 goals and win the game. And we did. On his reaction throughout an up and down game, well, understanding that that's the game that we have to play. There are a few things that might be unpredictable with the lineup or the formation or whatever, There are certain things that are so predictable. What you have to do here to win a football match. We certainly did that from the start to the end. And on top of that, we added today so much quality from various ways to generate the amount of chances that we did. At the end, we found a way to win when I think we fully deserved to win the game. Oh, I don't think that's within any doubt. We dominated that game. But the thing is, it actually was similar to games at St James's in recent years, especially the ones we've lost in, where there was not many clear-cut chances. We obviously dominated possession on all occasions. However, they were missing that little sparkle of quality. Alexander Isak, who's been our chief tormentor over the last 2-3 years. So him not being there kind of made me confident going into the game, especially after I saw that starting lineup, that we would join Barcelona and Liverpool in the teams to beat Newcastle at St James's Park. And incidentally, it's actually I don't know if it's a good or bad thing on from Newcastle fans' point of view, the fact that their 3 home losses this season have come against 3 teams that are definitely in the top 5 best teams in Europe. You know, Barcelona, Arsenal, Liverpool, and probably PSG and Real Madrid are the top 5 sides in Europe. So Newcastle they've been ousted on all 3 occasions. Anyway, that's just a thing that I noticed during the game. On how good last-minute winners feel mentally, we discussed to go to the next level. First of all, you have to learn from the past, and certainly we take some lessons and very different and sore moments in this ground. Today was an opportunity that the game brings you again in a really important week in the Premier League after all the tough places that we've already been very early in the season, to show who we are, who do we want to be, our ambition and the way that we want to play. I think the team has done that today in a remarkable way. I felt in the first half we played some really, really exceptional football. Probably our best football this season, maybe, perhaps. Taking into account the opposition, I would say it's our best football this season. We played really good football. And I did actually say in a number of my post-match interviews that this stodgy, pedestrian, so-called style we play, it's because we're forced into it. This long throw type of thing, the corners, the set pieces, it's just a way to prise open the opposition. But I feel like the way that we want to play is the way we played in the first half. And we've shown it on a number of occasions last season where when we're at our best, we are a formidable opponent. Ask PSG. I still maintain to this day that I felt we are a better team than PSG, and I felt we were the better team against PSG. It's just a poor 20 minutes to 30 minutes and them scoring against the run of play in Paris was the reason we wasn't in that final. But hopefully we can meet again at some point and put that right. On the Gyökeres penalty decision, I watched it live and then I watched it on the screen, and for me, it was a penalty. We were instructed very clearly again this season that unless it's a clear and obvious error, the VAR is not going to intervene. It's not. So that's my opinion. Thank God we found a way to win the game. The team is still emotionally very calm and very composed, and that's a lesson that we took as well, probably from a few years ago. I agree that was a penalty. I feel like the journalist is probably trying to provoke a headline out of Arteta criticising the referee. It was a penalty. Like I said earlier already, I felt it did affect some of the players, especially Saka, Gabriel. It rattled them, and they needed half-time to get their heads in together and get themselves back in a mental clear state of mind where they can focus on finding a route back into the game as opposed to dwelling on that decision which went against us. But having said that, it's good to show that despite adversity, we can kind of still dig in and get what we need to do out of the game. And now we don't need to visit St James's Park for another season, at least in the league, that is. And we've got a good run of fixtures coming up. Well, against a few sides that have caused us issues in the last few years, namely Fulham and West Ham. So hopefully we can go on a run now and really try and push for this title. And I think I checked the odds before the game, and it had Liverpool as slight favourites at 7-4, whereas we were 15-8. That's like a little fraction above us. That was before the game. So now you could argue the title's in our hands, because if we were to win every single game this season, we win the league. It'll probably have us neck and neck. I will have a look after this podcast, but it's close. It's close. Don't forget, Liverpool now have to come to the Emirates. They got to go to Stamford Bridge next week, whereas we got a home game against West Ham. And also they got Manchester United, Galatasaray. Yes, it's coming thick and fast for them. And I did say that. I did anticipate this situation, because they haven't been playing well, albeit they have a lot of quality and they're a formidable side. And I expect them to be with us till the end. But I believe in us to take it to them. And for me, it's 50-50. It's 6 to 1, half a dozen to the other. So it makes for a great title race. And I'm all for it. On closing the gap on the league leaders. Speaking of the league leaders, I believe the conviction of the team that we are, and that we can play various types of games and the team can still deliver and win it in a convincing way. For me, today is one of the most difficult grounds. Again, praise to Newcastle, the way they play, compete, how difficult it is to play in this place. But the team really took the game to a different level, and I'm very proud to see that. Yeah, I mean, it's good to have like those tough games out of the way, like the Old Traffords, the Anfields, the St James's, places that we traditionally do badly at. But it's now about getting over the also-rans, the type of teams that would lose narrowly to or draw to in recent years. Fulhams and the West Hams and the Bournemouths and the Crystal Palaces. The mid-table type of sides have all improved. So it's about being able to break them down, break down the low blocks. And that's where people like Eze and Odegaard coming into the team and changing the way we're playing and the way we're attacking the opponents is going to play a pivotal role. I think Eberechi Eze is going to be vital in these type of games. So we just need to kind of make sure he's as confident as possible, as fit as possible. People like Nwaneri as well will be vital for these type of games. So I think we will learn a lot about Arsenal now, especially in the coming weeks and months, where we've got a clear run of games now, so there's no excuses about having a tough start to the season, because we've kind of got over the worst as we speak. On substitutes making a difference, we certainly did that, and I would have to make a few adjustments and substitutions as well for different reasons. The ones that are coming in, they really come in fully focused. My duty is to win the game for the team, and all of them did it in an incredible manner. Martinelli comes in, and it shows from the beginning his threat. Saliba comes in, 45 minutes, and I think it was outstanding. Again, Martin comes in after a long period and delivers 2 goals that are goals. Mikel Merino comes in, which is a massive threat in the box, and delivers a winning moment. So credit to all of them. That's true. Mikel Arteta's improved in terms of the substitutions, the timings of when he's making the substitutions, and the tactical adjustments that he's making during games. So in recent weeks, for instance, at Man City, we got a late winner, with Martinelli coming on. Against Athletic Bilbao, Martinelli, Trossard come on, change the game, win us the 3 points. And then also today, where Mikel Merino comes on. So Odegaard came on and looked really bright. I'll be real. I've been a detractor of Odegaard for his performances in the last year, but I'm no mug. I know what he is capable of on top form. But the issue is he hasn't been on top form for a long time. So if he can continue to play like this, and I like the way he kind of correlated and dovetailed well with Eberechi Eze, I mean, that is a formidable duo if those two can get a kind of connection going. So, yeah, I mean, Odegaard's probably played himself into the starting lineup for Olympiacos on Wednesday. So hopefully he can play himself into some form. And yeah, it's looking really bright for Arsenal right now. On whether there was more pressure on us today given other results, there are moments in the season, and obviously with the start that we had already and the difficult fixtures that we had today, we had the opportunity to close that gap and do it in a stadium that has a very recent and difficult past for us. I think it shows how much the team wants it. Yeah, I mean, I saw before the game the teams that have done damage to Arteta. And not surprisingly, Man City were top with 5. So Man City have Arteta has lost 5 times at Man City, but second on that list was St James's Park with 4. I'm not sure if I'm surprised by it, but it goes to show that Arteta's done really well at grounds like Anfield, Old Trafford, which you probably would have thought would have been second. But St James's Park has been a real bogey ground for Arteta and Arsenal in the last few years, because with the exception of the last 3-4 years, we had a formidable record against Newcastle as a whole, whether it be in at home or in St James's Park. So for us to arrest that poor record and get a win there, it means now we've beaten them twice in a row in the league and also 3 times in a row in recent months if you include the friendly in the summer. On potentially silencing any critics, I don't know. I think the way we played against Manchester City and Newcastle, 2 of the teams, were outstanding. That's my view on it. Very clear. Well, Mikel, there's only one way to silence the critics. The Boo Boys are on mute right now, but whenever we draw a game or whenever we don't win, they'll be out on full force. There's only one way to silence the critics, and that's in May. Not even February, March, because the Carabao Cup will not suffice. There's only one way to silence those critics, and that is lifting major honours in May. By the way, I just want to thank everyone that's downloading my podcast, which enabled me to get ads on my podcast in a very efficient and quick manner. I'm so grateful. Please keep streaming, keep sharing, keep liking, keep subscribing, and I'll keep these podcasts flying through, and I'll do more and more podcasts, and I'll keep them more frequent. Bless.